Hello, everyone, and welcome to Week 5 of the Rutgers Scarlet Knights football season, where the 1-3 Scarlet Knights will be taking on the 1-3 Michigan Wolverines. Let's get into it. Okay, now first off, we'll start with your Rutgers Scarlet Knights, who are coming into this game 1-3 after a disappointing 23-20 loss to Illinois. So, like I said earlier, Rutgers is 1-3, with their opponent's record being a combined 8-5. And having played two top 10 teams in Indiana and Ohio State. They are averaging 196 passing yards per game, 133.5 on the ground, and they are allowing about 243.8 passing yards per game, and they are allowing 175 on the ground, but those numbers are inflated after the 200 yards the quarterback for Illinois had last week. Their turnover differential on the season is -2. They have 6 sacks and have allowed 8 sacks this year. And a big development this week is Bo Melton, the leading receiver for Rutgers, has been put on the Biletnikoff watch list, which is the award for the best receiver in college football. But Melton's having a great season. He's averaging over 100 yards per game, and I think he continues this in this game. And now we'll go on to the opponent, the Michigan Wolverines, who have been having a very disappointing season. They are 1-3 and are on a 3-game losing streak, just like Rutgers. They're coming off a 49-11 loss to Wisconsin, and their opposing team records are 8-6. Now, coming into this game, they're averaging 260 through the air. They're averaging 117 rushing yards. They're allowing 247 passing yards per game and allowing 178 rushing yards. So in passing yards, rushing yards, on offense, defense, Rutgers actually leads them in 3 of them. The only stat Michigan leads in, also by a large margin, is passing yards, 260 to 196. But in every other statistical category with yards, Rutgers is actually leading. The turnover differential for Michigan this year so far is -4, which is also worse than Rutgers. They have not forced a turnover since their first game at Minnesota, and they have 6 sacks this season and allowed 6 sacks, so even right there. But Michigan got 5 of those 6 sacks in Week 1 versus Minnesota. So in the past 3 games, they've only gotten 1 sack. So, like I said, Michigan has been very disappointing this year, and you might even see a QB change to try and get a momentum shift in the Wolverines' favor. Okay, now going into this game, let's go through first the worst case scenario for Rutgers. Vedral is another bad game with turnovers. He throws a lot of picks. Michigan just over-talents them. Michigan is obviously a more talented team. They have more 4 or 5-star guys than Rutgers does. That talent really shows up. They have a breakout game. All the pressure's on them, and they push back, and Michigan just blows them out, almost embarrasses them, which Michigan can definitely do. They have the talent to, but do they have that fight? I don't know. It doesn't look like they do, but you never know. And I think a best-case scenario for Rutgers, honestly, is Vedral is a great game. He doesn't throw any picks. Michigan's actually allowing a decent amount of yards on the ground, almost 178 per game. So maybe that means Pacheco has a good game. D-line just shuts down any rushing attack Michigan has. They have been pretty bad running 117, but I think that's dragged down from the Wisconsin game, where Wisconsin has been dominant on defense this year in 2 games. They've still been dominant. And Michigan can't force any turnovers. They can't get any sacks. And Rutgers wins by 1, maybe even 1 score, maybe even see them win by 10. Now, what I think is a realistic scenario and what I think is going to happen Saturday night at Piscataway is you will see this game come down to turnovers. This is going to be a big game to see. It's going to be determined by turnovers. Rutgers' big issue the past few games is they are losing because they are turning the ball over too much. And one of the big reasons Michigan has moved is because they can't get any sacks and they can't get any turnovers. Like I said, no turnovers since Week 1 and 1 sack since Week 1. It's going to be very difficult. I think Rutgers will have a bounce-back game. I don't want to be too optimistic. I never like being too optimistic with Rutgers because it seems they always disappoint me when I get too optimistic. And I think Michigan is a more talented team, and all the pressure is on Michigan. So this could either be really bad for Michigan, or it could be good and they come out strong. I think it's a very close game. I think there's almost no turnovers in this game. Maybe you see one or two. I think it's going to be very light on turnovers this game. Michigan's not forcing any, so I doubt Vedril's going to throw many. Rutgers has not been forcing many turnovers lately, so I doubt they'll do that also. But with that, I think Michigan wins a close game, 30-27. I think it also could be the same way for Rutgers. I think it could be 30-27 Rutgers. But like I said, I don't like being too optimistic with this team. They're still rebuilding. And I always like going into this game, games, I'm used to it from the past few years of never winning, losing 21 straight Big Ten games. I like going into these games a little less confident than I might actually be, because I don't want to get disappointed, because I know how that feels, and it sucks. So I'm going 30-27 Michigan, but you could very easily see Rutgers win this game also. Now, my bold predictions is I see Bo Melton has another real great game. I think he goes for 150 yards. With Michigan not forcing a lot of turnovers and their passing defense being not exactly great, allowing 250, which is worse than Rutgers, and Rutgers has not been great passing game this season, especially on defense. I think Vedral doesn't throw many picks. Like I said, Michigan's not forcing turnovers, so that means more opportunities for Bo Melton. They're going to target him a lot. But is he going to be able to go against those talented corners? Like I said, everyone in Michigan is talented. There are 4 or 5-star guys they have recruited well the past few years. It's been the coaching. But I think Melton get past it. He's really been showing that 4-star potential we saw 4 years ago. And I think he goes for 150 yards plus. And my other one is Pacheco goes for another 100-yard game. He gets a 2-game streak going of 100 yards. The one big thing that Rutgers actually has the advantage on is rushing yards. They have a 16-yard per game advantage, rushing yards per game. And Michigan is also allowing more rushing yards per game. So I think that Pacheco is a good game. Now, the thing is, I think if Joe Milton starts, it'll be this close game. If they start another quarterback that Rutgers is not preparing for, Michigan will win, and I think by double figures. We saw this last week where they didn't know who was the quarterback for Illinois. Guy comes in who can runs for 200 yards, and they can't tackle him. If they bring in a backup quarterback that they are not preparing for, a different, almost like just a different style than Milton, I think that's going to be a major issue for Rutgers. I think Harbaugh would be smart to put in a different quarterback after seeing what happened last week. But I don't think I think he's going to stick with Milton, and I think it's going to be a close game. So those are my predictions for Week 5 of the Rutgers football season. And I hope to see you soon when I probably start doing basketball predictions for the Scarlet Knights, who are currently ranked 24th in the country. So, see you later.